Oh,
We're live.
hold on. No.
Oh, we're not live. We are live.
It got hung up. No, there we go. Now we're live. Now we're live.
Technology.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Orlando Real Estate Buzz. I'm Brendan Rendo with the Homes in Orlando team, joined as always by Joseph Dion. We had to do a little change up this week. We both kind of got slammed yesterday with some extra items that had to be done.
Oh yeah. And we got it done though. You know what the funny part about that is when we had to get shit done, we figured out a way and got it done. And we're here today, one day late, but you know what? We're doing this.
Yeah.
If only our government could work the same way.
Well, that government is causing quite a bit of stir, I think, in a lot of areas. I mean, we've got a lot of news coming out today. It was an interesting week. The Republicans got their butts handed to them in the election.
Yeah.
And of course, we know that Mamdani, a quote communist, is taking over New York City. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. The numerous job cuts. We're going to look at that.
Yeah.
The commercial mortgage-backed market, what's going on there. I mean, it was, even though we don't have any Fed reports, there's still a lot of news, and it really wasn't a great week per se so far. So let's get into it. And again, welcome to the Orlando Real Estate Buzz. So, Joe, big headline this week. Mamdani won, and they're saying that nearly 1 million New Yorkers are ready to flee New York City.
Sure. All right. So, like, I hear this all the time, but I think this kind of plays into when they said Trump, like, when everybody was like, if Trump wins, we're all going to move to Canada. Like, so many people said they were going to move to Canada, and then what happened? Like, 3 people actually made the move.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
I don't know. Like, I think there might be. But the one thing that that you look at is like, who's more important? Is the mayor of New York or the governor of New York more important?
Yeah, because he's said a lot of stuff that he just can't.
Yeah.
He just can't do. Like,
we're gonna raise taxes on the 1%. We're going to do this, and then, but don't you need the governor to approve that?
Yeah, actually do. And she's been backtracking quite a bit since then. The thing that I found funny is, like, the minute after he got elected, and everything's free, he was out on Instagram begging for money for his transition team. I found that one to be absolutely hilarious. But I mean, you look at this, and I can understand. My brother actually lives in Westchester County, which is above New York City, more of a much more strong conservative Republican type area. And he's like, I don't care. He goes, it just shot my value up because people are still going to be working in New York City, but I think it will push a lot of people out of the city. Will push a number of people. You see some different news. I saw one in Miami. I saw a couple agents put on, oh my gosh, my phone's been ringing off the hook. Like, really? Come on. I don't believe it's off the hook, but I think we may get a little boost out of this. I think we will get some additional New Yorkers out of it. I mean, quite honestly, one thing I'm doing is I've got a list of all the agents in New York City and the 5 boroughs. And this weekend, I'm going to put together an email campaign offering referral fee to these agents that, hey, if you do have someone who's looking to move to Florida, looking to move to the Orlando area, refer them to me. I'll take great care of them. And I'll give you, normally it's 25. I'll give you a 30% referral fee.
All right. Hey, sounds good to me.
All you got to do is get 1 or 2 of them that are actually moving, and hey, made a few extra dollars.
People have been moving from New York to Florida for a long time. Like, a lot of people might have just need a little extra kick. They don't. You see this. What, politics aside, some people don't like him. All right, so there's that, right? And we're getting ready to go into winter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it might be the nudge that those New Yorkers needed to be like, you know what, screw this. I'm ready to bounce.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a former New Yorker. I moved 29 years ago and never looked back. Had no desire to go back. I don't miss the cold at all. I mean, it's funny, when I first moved down here, you this time of year, and you see all the Floridian, in their jackets when it hits 60 degrees. I'd walk around in my t-shirt like, oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now I'm like, oh, give me my jacket back. Give me my jacket back.
That blood is thinned out, huh?
Oh, it's thinned out big. So we got that going on. And then economic news wise, I mean, we've seen a lot of announcements. We mentioned this last, a lot of announcements of job cut. And right now it's the largest number in 22 years.
Yeah.
So I think that goes back to our gut in that we've been telling you that, hey, you just, the buyers don't feel comfortable making the move right now because, cost of living going up, job insecurity. So, it's just something that we got to start seeing this turn around.
So and just real quick for those that don't know, like you hear a lot about, all right, what is challenge? You see Challenger jobs report, and it's the job cut report. And basically what this is, it's a monthly report that comes out. It's actually the firm Challenger, Gray and Christmas, they put it together. And it's not complete data, but what they're doing is they're basically looking at, public announcement, news articles, industry sources. They're finding who are making announcement of job cuts, what they are, and that's where they're compiling this data. So it's a good base. It's not a perfect basis, but it's a basis of where is the economy heading, which is why it's kind of, it's a mover. It's a market mover when we do get it, because it's kind of showing like, hey, like this is what's showing.
Yep. So you've got that going on. ADP came out with their numbers. We got their numbers. Of course, no federal numbers this week. We did see an upswing in jobs, which is nice because the past 2 months, remember, they were negative.
Yep.
So we did see an increase. Not as big as a lot of people had hoped, but it's the right direction for now at 42,000. I've heard estimate wise is that we really need to generate, to keep up with growth. We need to do about 100,000 jobs per month. But right now, when you look at the number of possible layoffs, to still see that we are getting some job growth, I think that's actually a positive for us as opposed to a negative. Then this one kind of worries, and because we went through the 2008 era, and you saw the commercial sector take a dive before the housing sector took their dive. And we've jumped to about 12% delinquency rate on commercial backed mortgage security. Wow. That's a high level. That's a very high level.
And it's like you said, like you see the job numbers, you see the companies are hiring or they're doing layoffs. You see this, and it's kind of it's been very interesting with this piece because these are higher than the financial crisis. Like, so this is not, we're not talking 2020. We're going back before that.
Yep.
Right. And that's the crazy part to me, because I feel like I've been waiting to see what's going to happen. Is there, like, with commercial real estate in general, right? Since 2020, the move to remote work, we saw this kind of temporary. We saw a lot of work on restructuring and like to kind of push this aside to hope that it would recover itself and it would be okay. Are we starting to see some kinks and some cracks that they no longer can tape over?
I think we are. I really think we are. And my understanding is over the weekend, the Federal Reserve pumped $29 billion into regional banks to help offset this a little bit. Wow. So, because you got to remember, the ones who loan on this are the small community banks.
Yeah.
They're the ones who have the exposure. It's not the big guy. It's the small regional banks that do the majority of the commercial mortgage paper. So that's a little scary. And I find it interesting because, you look at the multifamily delinquencies soaring to 7.1. And here in Orlando, what do you see continuously being built? I don't think there's too many roads you can go down, major roads right now, and not see a new apartment building,
luxury
being
apartment.
put up. Yeah. I'm so sick of that word.
It's still an apartment.
Yeah. We've got to figure out what luxury is, because apparently everything in the world is luxury, I hate that word. So that I find that interesting is that we're, at least here we are continuously building all these apartments, but we're actually not getting the growth in population that we were a couple of years ago, where they were being absorbed very quickly. The absorption rate is down here as well. So, I mean, all this is really leading to what we see is that, consumer confidence is waning because there's just a lot of stress on the economy in several different areas, and I think it's getting to the point where people just they're losing confidence. I think I'll be honest. I'm one who's slipping a little bit. I felt good like the second week of September. It felt like things were starting to get rejuvenated, in the market.
Yeah.
And it seems like we kind of pulled back again a little bit. And it's just it's a gut. It's just your gut. I mean, it's funny because Christmas is coming up, and talking with my wife, what do we do for the boys? What do we do here? And I'm like, pull back.
You're like, babe, now is not the time to go to Europe for Christmas. No, I'm just kidding. But you are right. It is very interesting how quickly things can change, because it did feel that way in September. It's like we knew we were expecting Fed rate cut. We had this. The market starts humming a little bit more. Everything seems to be moving in the right direction. And then we get to where we are now, and you're like, well, it feels like everything turned pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, like, on a dime. But you look, and this report came out earlier this week about total debt in the United States, and look at our non-housing debt. We're up over $18 trillion in non-housing debt right now.
So
and even the housing debt.
So that's like cars, credit cards, installment loans,
all that stuff. So people are carrying more debt. So as the consumer carries more debt, the ability to spend is going down, which means the economy is going to continue to contract a little bit. And then you see when they came out with the delinquency, holy cow, this lovely red line right here, that's student loan. And look at this. They had the deferments, correct?
Yep.
It shot up to over 10% the minute the deferments went away.
Yeah.
And I think you've had a few clients. I think we had one in common that we were getting ready to get pre-approved earlier in the summer, and their student loans had kicked in and they hadn't made a payment. And it really destroyed their credit score.
Yeah. And it's tough because, I always sit there and it's like, you look at it and you go, well, how do you handle this? And, you go, well, it's not, they were on pause. You knew you owed the debt, but I was kind of just like, wait, there was so much uncertainty for so long that people were saying, am I going to have to pay it? Am I not? Is it going to be refunded? Is it going to be like, in politics aside of whether you think it should or shouldn't have been, but like, if you're that person and you have that debt and you haven't paid on it since 2020, right? A lot of people have moved 5, 6, 7 times, so they're not even getting notices anymore. Now, is it their fault for not going in and updating their address? Probably, right? Like, I'm not going to sit there and say like, the in-person was perfect in this, but it's like the way it rolls out and the way the notices, it's a very tough, because there's a lot of people I talk to that when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, you're delinquent on your student loans. They didn't even realize they were back in repayment. And that's the hard part, is like, I'm calling them about a mortgage. Like, they applied with me. We look at their credit and I'm like, oh, whoa, like, hey, like, you're late on your student loans. Like, you need to get this resolved. It's tanked your credit score. Like, but that's the hard part, is how it roll. I don't know. I don't know what the right way to roll it back. I felt like it was everywhere. There's all this news, but you know what? Like, I also sit there and go, it hasn't existed for so many, or you take younger people that maybe were in college in 2020.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess my nature would have been, I would have still continued to pay on.
Yeah.
If they allowed me to.
They do. I
mean, and get it paid off. It's like, well, if it's deferred, because the other thing is that what a lot of people don't realize is that deferment, I believe they added the interest.
So for a while they were zero interest. They moved everything to zero interest. So it kind of, and I think now it is like, it's back. It's accumulating interest, but then there's still pauses. Like, and I have some, like, I was stupid. I've got a lot of student loans and I paid off a lot. Like, and I make payments, but even with mine, like, I get notices in the mail, like every other week. It feels like I'm getting a notice saying something about my student loans, but it's never a bill. Like, and I make a monthly payment on mine, but it's always like, oh, well, this is going to be extended to this, and we're still waiting for XYZ. So we need, government this. So we're going to push back. And I got a notice the other day that said that they were going to push back a decision on the status of my student loans until I think it was August of 2027.
Huh.
Like, that's cool, but like, I can get why there's some confusion of why this is happening, because if you're getting all these notices, it's like, well, what do I do with it? What's real, what's not?
Yeah, it's just, I can understand it completely, but hey, the government is efficient, right?
They're going to do a test code today, aren't they?
Yeah.
We're going to see.
But here you go. Here's all that debt. And number one, student loans. We're up over $5 trillion in student loan debt.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Then credit cards we broke the 2 trillion, I think it was a year ago or something like that, year and a half.
Yeah.
So we're almost at $2.5 trillion in credit card debt right now. And then look, the auto loans have finally leveled off.
Yeah.
But you're also seeing a lot of these financing companies that did the subprime auto loan. There's been 3 of them that have filed bankruptcy in the past month. And then look at CarMax's number. When they came out, boy, did they get hammered. And guess what, CEO, see you later. You're gone. You're out of here. So you look at all this and you're just thinking, okay, if I'm the Fed, what am I doing? Right now, from last week, we kind of have set pretty steady at about 68-69% that we're going to have a rate cut coming in December. So I'm actually looking at all this and thinking, oh my gosh, maybe they do need to do a half a point, to get things going. Maybe, because you look at this and I'm looking for some good news. And, I hate to say this, but President Trump, shut up, just shut up. Because it's not good for the average American. We're still running at 3% inflation rate. The good thing is, I'll tell you, gas prices are finally starting to come down. We're well below the $3 a gallon.
Yeah.
But I hate going to the grocery. Oh my gosh. You can't walk in there without dropping $40 on like 5 items these days. Yeah. And I actually talked to one of my Canadian clients, and I thought it was getting bad here. Up there for beef, $26 a pound.
Ooh, yeah.
$26 a pound.
Yeah, it's affordable.
Yeah. She's like, I don't even make stew anymore.
But and I don't know, like, you look at this and you mentioned like, gas prices are down, and like, and I see this and I think about like, well, I just saw something where I think OPEC said that they were going to pause oil increase in productions for 2026. So basically OPEC, and they're basically saying, oh crap, prices are going down, let's make sure they go back up.
Yeah.
So we're going to which that drives, if oil price, that'll continue to drive all the goods and everything to go up in price too, because it'll cost more to get.
The cost of transportation.
We need things like we need it to come down in price. I don't know if we're going to see that. And you mentioned like Trump shutting up. Like, I don't know, like what is it? Is it the K curve, or I forget what it is, the K economy or whatnot, where it's like the 1% continue to thrive and everybody else doesn't. Like I forget this, but it's it is very, very interesting, because we've said this, and this is something that people have felt for a long time, but it's the middle class is getting further and further deteriorated.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard position, because what do you do when 1% or maybe the top 5% feel like everything's good and everybody else is saying it's really, really tough right now? I don't know.
It is tough. I mean, because I'm more conservative financially, and I'm feeling it now. I've mentioned several times, we made a decision that, hey, my wife will stay home, do homeschooling, educate the boys.
Yeah.
I'd work. And with this market, I've been blessed. I can say that I've been blessed. I'm consistent, but it's working my butt off every day. And being fortunate enough to have a network like with yourself, good past clients. So it's helped me to be consistent. But when you look at you're averaging 400 sales a week in Orlando, and you've got 18,000 agents. There's a lot of starving agents out there.
Yeah,
a lot of starving, and there's a lot of them that are leaving. There's a lot that have left the market, and you see some of the legal things going on, and you don't see it getting any easier, because the realtors, NAR's being sued for this, NAR's being sued for this, Zillow's being sued for that, and it's just like, can't we just do our business and just let it all go? That's what you have. That's what I try and concentrate on some days, is just, what, Just get back to your basic, let all the noise go, and just do your job.
Yeah.
And that's, and hopefully if you do it right, actually do it, it's good enough for everything. So, all right. Well, let's get into our number for the week. We actually had a nice rebound here in Orlando.
Yeah.
So we jumped up to 428 after dropping into the roughly 350 mark. So that was nice. And if you look at it, kind of corresponds with when the rates dropped. So if you go back roughly about 30 days. Inventories decreased a little bit. That's okay. We're not seeing a huge decrease. Condos, they jump back up to 100. So that's good. When we look at our original list to sales price, to get those sold, they did have to drop price. We had been averaging roughly about 93. And this past week, we dropped to 91.5%.
Okay.
So, and interesting enough, the biggest discount, one of the biggest discounts is actually in the under 250,000 range. And I think that's probably because more of these houses need rehab, need
extensive work.
So you've got that end where, they need a lot of work. And then you got the higher end. Look at this, 87% on homes over $1 million. That's a big drop.
Yeah.
On average, look at this original list of sales price. They're dropping $328,000.
Yeah. That'll do it.
You see some articles out there. Oh, luxury market's booming. It's like, yeah, really? I don't know about that one.
I mean, it's tough. No, it's doing something.
Yep. Then our graph, here we are right across that 400 mark. Nice to see a bounce. It'll be interesting because the month ended on a Friday. So it'll be good to see. Maybe we'll have some really good news next week and find out that, hey, last week we had 500 sales. That would be nice to see. End of the month, you never know. You know how people always try to squeeze things in.
Maybe.
Push it in. So inventory kind of sitting pretty flat.
Mm-hmm.
Then our foreclosure numbers are still holding up.
Okay.
And then this was interesting. It wasn't the end of the month, but we saw a little boom in the withdrawn. So sellers are still feeling that, that, hey, I want my price. If I don't get my price, I'm going to pull it off the market.
Okay. Yep.
And then of course our condos, 9 months worth of inventory, that's holding up their buyer's market. And then original to list, 90%. So this has dropped about 2% from the previous couple. So we've sold more, but sellers have had to be more aggressive in their price.
Yeah. It's good. It's mixed data, I feel like, right? Like, I think it's still a very aggressive buyer's market right now. But there's so much uncertainty in the marketplace, and that's going to be, I think that if I were to be a betting guy, I would say that November is going to be a very slow month. It's usually a slower month anyways, but I think so much uncertainty with the economy, with the government shutdown, with all those pieces, I feel like we're going to see these numbers. I don't think they're going to level off in the 400 to 450, 500 range. I think we're going to see a few more weeks in the 300 range.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm just wondering because I think there's a big weight on the country right now with the government shutdown.
Yeah.
Because usually, hey, it goes a week or two, no big deal.
We're now the longest, right?
Yep, we're now the longest. We're actually over a month.
Yeah. I think it's like 38 days or something, or 37 days.
37.
38 days because October had 31.
Yep. So I think that's got a heaviness over us right now. But I'm wondering is if when it breaks, do we get that little push? Will we see a little push?
I feel like maybe we will. I think that they figure they figure it out, and I think that they're back up and running by middle of next.
There's a lot of pressure to do it.
You've got aviation is like they had to cut 4% of flights,
10%,
10%. So they're cutting flights. So you've got that. Trump's talking about now. Trump's putting on pressure against the Republicans to stop, on the filibuster. Like, usually Trump's been like ho hum, like, hey, like it's the Democrats. Now he's kind of putting attention toward the Republican side too.
It was interesting because I saw a presentation that they actually don't have to end the filibuster because the filibuster, the way if they have 51 Republicans on the floor, the filibuster, the Democrats have to talk. And the minute they stop talking, you can have a vote. And as long as you got 51 on the floor at that time, you may have to let them, blah, blah, blah for, 3 or 4 days. Let them do it. But as long as the minute they stop, they can call a vote. And as long as they got 51 on the floor, they can break the filibuster.
It's just
but are they willing to, are they
willing to stay there?
Really, are they willing to sit there?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
Yeah.
For the amount of money they make, they should be.
Oh, no kidding.
Well, maybe that the stock market isn't pumping right now.
Yeah.
You're going to feel a little more pressure because now their accounts aren't pumping.
Yeah. What's Nancy Pelosi going to do now how's she going to make any money now that she's retiring?
Well, she's made enough. No more insider trading needed.
I feel bad for all those people who had signed up to follow her stock trades.
That might be why she's stopping.
Yeah.
It's like I can't have all these 20%ers act like they're 1%ers off me.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. I think we're going to see some positive news come. I know that they're going to be doing a test vote, or they're going to start playing with it this today. So I think we could be looking at, the shutdown coming to an end within the next few business days. Mm-hmm. But how the economy and how the people react after this is going to be very interesting.
Yep, it will be. It will. Well, thank you, Joe. As always, a pleasure. And thank you all for joining us on the Orlando Real Estate Buzz. Please join us. We'll be back at our regular time next Thursday. And have a wonderful weekend. Take care. God bless.
Have a good one.